but I'm going to pick up what Peggy Steinfeld's taught me this summer, which is to say, if you ask a question, I will probably bounce it back into, what do you think? Anyway, Mike.
Jim, I'd like to know if you could compare and contrast the Pope's thoughts and your comment on the Pope's thoughts with the communitarian movement. As you know, in this country especially, there's, at least for the last 15 or 20 years, there's been a communitarian movement which tries to set its objectives in contrast to those of pure individualistic objectives. And I'd like to know if you can compare and contrast.
Yeah, I probably can't. I don't know that much about the communitarian movement itself and sort of its inner workings and what it's, how it would work. So you might be able to say a little more about that. What I do think is important, and what I've sort of learned from Benedict is this sense that it's not really a matter of coming up with technical structures or even coming up with policy issues. For Benedict, it really does have to do with our getting ourselves in touch with our real hearts, with this sense of, to use the kind of a classic terminology, with conversion. Which, frankly, I'm a little resistant to, I'm a structure guy. I studied economics, I don't think that the world is, as I said at the beginning of the talk, that this is really just about, a few greedy people, or even a lot of greedy people, and if we can just get them not to be greedy, then everything will be fine. So part of me resists that sense, but I think Benedict is convincing me that there's something going on there in the way we relate to each other that we've let ourselves kid ourselves. And so it's not, in terms of different movements, it's not so much, it seems to me, that there's a different system that we ought to have, or a different movement. I don't think Benedict is anti-market, for example, which might be a difference with a kind of communitarian movement, I don't know. He's not anti-capitalism, but he is about within those structures and understanding that within the ways that we interact, whatever the system is, that we need to be in touch with, that we need to be in touch with what makes those systems work. Any of those structures, any of those human social structures that we put together, the social construction of reality, classic one. Any of those social structures come out of our humanity. The problem is, when we kind of lose a sense of really what's the best in them. So, capitalism at some level can work, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know whether that's a difference, but I don't think the issue is so much a movement for Benedict as it is really getting in touch with what makes us best at dealing with whatever the structure is that we're involved in.
Yeah, I really appreciate so much of this that you're sharing. But I'm wondering, what's the reason for the absence of issues around sustainability and the destruction of the planet? Why is that not part of the statement?
Oh, it's very much part of the statement. I'm sorry, I didn't pick up on this here. There is a great deal about the environment. There's a whole, actually, it's the whole fourth part. Does talk about, I apologize for not underlining that more. Again, Benedict will see it as being in touch with that interdependence, with having a real sense that we can't pretend that we don't depend on Mother Earth, that we can't, and that we have to see that interdependence in a way that it really does drive what we're doing. So I apologize for not underlining that. You know, the other thing, and I just noticed on one of the news reports on some of Benedict's recent talks, that it's something that he does keep bringing up. So it's very much on his mind. And as you may know, the Vatican itself, as a physical institution, has done a number of things along the lines of solar power, along the lines of recycling, along the lines of other kinds of environmentally friendly sorts of things that have really kind of caught people's imagination. Again, is that going to solve the climate change? No, but for there to be kind of practical steps taken by this institution, this state of the Vatican, it seems to me is a good sign. It gets practical. So that would be a whole other thing. That would be a very good